All right, welcome to the Sci-Fi Express Lane. This is Jeff Carroll. Today I want to talk about kind of a clarification, vent, post, commentary, whatever you want to call it. I'm expressing myself on the Sci-Fi Express Lane. So I want to talk about the difference between black science fiction and black characters in in science fiction, right? So that's the way I'm going to describe it. Mostly because of this movie, television series, which was once a movie, The Man Who Fell to Earth, right? This is an adaptation from a I think it's 1973 book. And it was a movie that starred David Bowie in, I'm going to say 74. Okay, so maybe the book came out in 63, which I think is really early. And the movie came out in 76, which the movie may sound right. But you guys got to get, it's not really part of my point. It's just good for you to know, right? So you can Google that. That's a Googleable. However, it stars my man, what's his name, Chinua, and Naomi. I forget her last name, but Chinua is from the movie Salt. He's from American Gangster. He's from my favorite movie, Serenity. One of my favorite movies, Serenity. He's been in Doctor Strange. He's my man, right? Not gonna mention Kinky Boots or Red Belt, but those are good movies too. Okay. And Naomi is from 28 Days Later, from Rampage with The Rock. You name it. She's been in James Bond. It's British, African British actors, right? So they got this movie, the TV show now on Showtime, and I'm like, yo, it seems slow but involved, and it's kind of the first time I feel like I'm watching a show because it has black actors in it. Now, mind you, I'm with Isaiah Washington back in the days. Check your stub, go out here and support these black movies, because that's how Hollywood knows that they're going to do good. Even though we're well past that, we've been destroying the box office for at least the past 5-6 years. Black film, Jordan Peele, and all, even Medea has demonstrated some greatness at the box office. But I still support black films on that note, But there's been, and I should have put this one on there, one of my favorite black characters was the movie Ma. Came about 4 years ago. Octavia Spencer was in it, and it was a horror movie, thriller horror, and she bodied it, but it was originally for a white character. I call this the Will Smith effect, because Will Smith did it so well in Independence Day and Wild Wild West that it's got to be his move, where you take a black actor, popular black actor, one of our A-list actors, and put him in a script that was written for a white person. Now, somebody tells me The Man Who Fell from Earth had the character not been described as black or white, right? So that's fine. That's, sort of a formality, because it doesn't change what I feel, right? It is sometimes unnecessary to mention the color of a character in a story where the color of a character isn't important. Because sometimes you'll tell people a story, you say, I walked up to this white guy, or this white lady, or this white cop, or this black guy, most of the time you tell a story, this guy, this lady, and then people have to say, was he black? Were they white? And sometimes they don't even ask, because it's not important. So those are the, kind of the ways stories are, even with film, or with books. Sometimes you write a book, it's not necessary to mention the character's color, skin color. It seems irrelevant, because it has to be relevant to mention it in a story. So anyway, that's not a factor in The Man Who Fell from Earth, or in many of the things I'm saying. When a character is written for by a black person, or even written to be a black person, everything falls in line. As good as everything about the character falls in line. As good as Will Smith was in Independence Day, Vivica Fox ended up playing a stripper now, or a dancer, exotic dancer, whatever you want to call it. I ain't, no disrespect, but this is a military dude and his girl's dancer. Now, I'm not saying black guys are the only ones that date exotic dancers. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is it didn't feel appropriate. It didn't feel natural. It felt out of place. And we have to be aware of racial stereotypes, racism, that would love to see, this black woman in a real big movie. She could have been a school teacher. She could have been there's 50 million other jobs. She didn't even have to work, okay? There's a lot of women that date military guys that don't work. I think it was her child, so, she's a single mother, a baby mama. All right, that might be another stereotype. Not saying that black people are the only ones that have single parents or baby mothers. It's just that I know racism will love those stereotypes. They're not necessarily the most positive stereotypes. So anyway, all of that said, there was some negative baggage with it. Now, in addition, if a black writer would have written that story, would have written I, Robot, Wild Wild West, or Independence Day, even Ma, or this new one, Man Who Fell from Earth, or heck, even Lovecraft Country. The characters and the behavior in the world, not the behavior, because actors can tweak the behavior. That's what Will Smith gets credit for. He made Jim West cool, right? But there's other things about Jim West that, or these characters that would be explored with a black writer, particularly connection to the black community, connection to their black family, and then connection to those things that are black. Now, I, Robot did a better job with the ma and the auntie. I don't know if those characters were in the book, or that character was in the book, if she wasn't cooking and she wasn't going to church to pray. I think those were modifications in it. Even if all of those modifications are made, the overall story is still white. Would a black writer imagine a world like I, Robot? Would a black writer imagine a story like Independence Day? Would a black writer imagine a story where the aliens are black in the way they were in Lovecraft Country, right? Would a black writer tell a story like Ma? It takes on a different tone. You got a black girl pretty much sexually assaulted, seeking revenge on her white perpetrator. Are you kidding me? That's not a lightweight story. That's damn near reparations. Understand, I made Gold Digger Killer. My movie was about a girl going after the guys that raped her in the hip-hop community, and it took on a different energy. I think it would have taken on a different energy had a black writer written Ma. had a black writer, thought of a Confederate disabled person who wants to reenact who wants the Confederate side of America to win the war. That's Wild Wild West. That's the villain. That's his plot. He's kidnapping all these scientists to be able to get the South to win the war. That's an incredible villainy, no doubt. But I think if a black writer had written something like that, it would be different. Now, take The Man Who Fell from Earth. They chocolate up the man who fell from Earth, at least in the first episode, and I'm just prejudicing it. But he is connected to a scientist who kind of is given all of the credit for what he's doing. He sends him on the mission. He's his commander, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if a black writer would have written a black character that answers to a white person if they're that powerful, right? Or if they're that great, if they're that important. The other thing is, and I don't know, what kind of world is this man coming from? In the book, it's described as their planet ran out of water. Okay? So it seems like it's similar to the storyline in Oblivion. However, is this planet all black people? Now, when the alien came and he terraformed himself, not terraformed, he absorbed Earth's molecules and conformed himself to a human, he was originally somebody with bony scales. He looked like he was had an exoskeleton like dude in Alien Mind, almost like not the Klingons, but the other ones, the ones with the bones outside in Star Trek. I can't remember. Not Romulans. There's another aliens that's in Star Trek. But anyway, that's what he seemed like. He seemed like he had a hard exposed bone outside of his skin before. And so the people on his planet may not be black. They may not have pigment in their skin. So we're wondering. However, I still ask the question, if a black writer had written that, would he have been black before he turned black on Earth? Would he come from a planet of black people? It changes a whole lot of dynamics. The main reason why it changes the dynamics is because black people are still oppressed on Earth. And whether they're oppressed by other people with pigment, like Northern Africans and Middle Easterns, Arabs, or not, they're still oppressed, specifically in the country that he lands in. So is he going to be black, or is he just going to be a spirit, a soul with black skin? Because he's certainly been addressed and rescued by a person who is black, Naomi. So we wonder what else is going to go on. A lot of that is kind of important. I think if a black person was to have written that story, it would be something they have to deal with. Just like my man from Atlanta, who was in the Eternals, right? He had all of this power. This dude goes to Hiroshima and cries because so many people were destroyed by a bomb. No doubt that's a tragedy, you know what I'm saying? But dude, you are taking the pigment of the form of a black person. You're in a world where black people, whether it's England or the United States, black people have been victimized. Had he been a black person in India or somewhere like that, maybe he didn't know about slavery. But you are taking the form of a black person in a world in a culture where black people have been victimized and still treated unfairly, and you aren't doing, and you crying over some Japanese people. Yo, I'm down. It's a human tragedy. There's a lot of human tragedies. Are you kidding me? Humans have done crazy damage on each other, but you crying over that? Come on, son. Come on. Killing me. So the same thing holds true for my man in The Man Who Fell from Earth. What you gonna do? You gonna be on cold, as they like to say nowadays? So anyway, it's the same thing we held Wakanda to. You got these white created black worlds, and they don't necessarily act the way a black writer would respond to them. And same thing with Luke Cage was really good. It was pretty tight, but we held them all to it. So anyway, that's that. Talk to you later. Like, subscribe, and share. All right. Peace. Oh, and comment. Peace.